Hi again, everybody. This is Matador from freetradingvideos.com. Thanks for all the comments. Appreciate that. And I'll try to get to those videos as soon as possible. I love the ideas as well. It helps me come up with some good new material. So today is an interesting day, just as always, but it's February 13th, and Congress is basically getting ready to do that final vote on that $787 billion stimulus bill. Stimulus in quotes. We'll see, of course, what happens with that, but it's looking like it's going to happen. So markets are in definite chop mode, I would call this. A little bit more bearish than bullish, at least in the market internals. Nice run up this morning after the sell-off. Came back up, higher high and higher low. Even took out the previous high at around the $84 mark. That's a big one. And if you look back in here, here's a 60-minute chart of the S&P 500. This $84 mark was a little bit of resistance on the way back up. There it is. Of course, there's more at the 85, which has been around for a long time now, declining 200 MA, and of course this unfilled gap around 86, 87 area after this big slide. So intraday is what we're seeing. A good move up in the 84 mark, except all day long the TRIN was above 1.0 again. This is one of the, for me, one of the best market internals to look at because I would be very, very careful about how I went long into this rising market. Into this rising market here. Even though there's money to be made between 83 and 84, it's a whole point on the S&P. It's just a little bit more difficult to want to go long there for the long term, so to speak, and hold on to something in the face of the lack of volume confirmation, I'll put it that way. The VIX, a little bit more helpful in this manner. So when this market had gapped down, VIX rose, market went up, the VIX dropped concomitantly, which is nice. So I see the VIX actually confirming everything that's happening in the broad market. The put-call ratio is also showing us some bearish sentiment here. 0.8 would be considered the neutral range, since more calls are generally bought on any given day than puts. 0.7 would be more of a bullish type area of the market, and 1.1, which is off the chart here, would be fairly bearish in that scenario. So more puts would be being bought at that point than calls, and so this number would rise. Anyway, it's a little bit more bearish since it's rising. The TRIN is also still above 1.0. It's in the 1.2 range. It's just chopping around like the rest of the market. So people are in wait mode. It seems a little bit more bearish to me, and we do see a little bit of a slide here past the support. Support, one test here, rising 100 MA, and now we're heading south now, breaking past the round number of 83, which is probably a part of that. Another good area to look for support in here, if I can just drop a line in. Oh, that's where we are right now. Look at that. And we're testing that. Wow. So this broken again. So we'll be looking for the 200 MA now to be support if we can get that. You can see it speeding up here. Even as we're talking, it's failing this area, but the volume isn't rising concomitantly with this. We'll zoom back in. So good. Watch this action. If this comes back up, knocks its head on 83 and starts selling off again, that would be fairly indicative that we might be hitting lower. And the TRIN actually just now popped. Look at that. That is a big... It's cool to have that happen right in front of us. Remember, just 2 seconds ago, the TRIN was down at 1.2. The sell-off, a lot of volume now behind that, even though it's not showing up yet on the S&P 500 chart itself. That's a pretty good volume confirmation behind that sell-off. So watch out how you go long in this environment. Check the VIX. It is not yet popping up dramatically, so that's not quite confirming this TRIN reading, but now the TRIN's sticking up there, so that's big time volume flowing into the sell-off. So we'll have to find out what news is driving this, how long it holds up here, and all those sorts of things will come into play. Very interesting. It seems like that blip up here may be actually short-lived. We'll have to see how that comes back into play here. Check out the VIX during the same time frame. One more little glance here, and then the S&P 500. Kind of trying to pop back up. Like I said, we'll see if it can come back to the 83 area before selling off again, or if it can even chew its way out of this and head higher. out of a higher swing low. We'll see how that works out. Well, I hope you all have a great rest of the day and an even better weekend. It's Valentine's Day coming up, so watch out for that. And I'll be talking to you soon.